Have you ever wondered what the most dangerous thing a man can do to a woman really is? It's not breaking her heart. It's not leaving her for someone else. And it's not even betraying her trust in the obvious ways most people think. The most dangerous thing a man can do to a woman is to awaken something inside her that she cannot put back to sleep. Let me explain. When a man touches a woman's soul in a way she's never experienced before, when he sparks feelings in her that no other man has ever managed to awaken, he doesn't just become another chapter in her story, he becomes the story. And that's where the danger lies. Because once a woman has felt a certain depth of connection, once she's tasted a certain kind of passion, once she's experienced a certain version of herself in the presence of a man, she can never go back to who she was before. This is the silent power most men never realize they hold. And in today's world, where relationships are often treated like disposable games, this power is both dangerous and sacred. Dangerous because it can shape a woman's entire outlook on men, on love, on life. Sacred because if used with wisdom, it can create a bond so deep it reshapes both lives forever. But let's break this down. Because to understand this truth, you need to dive into psychology, human emotions, and the realities of how women experience attraction. Chapter 1. The Awakening. Why emotional impact is more powerful than looks. Most men spend their entire lives chasing after the wrong keys, believing those are the secrets to unlocking a woman's heart. They chase looks, cars, careers, and six-pack abs, imagining that the moment they step out of a shiny BMW in London or walk into a bar in New York wearing the most expensive suit, women will fall at their feet. And yes, those things might grab attention for a fleeting moment. A sharp suit might get her to glance twice. A luxury lifestyle might catch her curiosity. But here's where men often fail. Attention is not the same as connection. Attraction can be shallow, but connection is unforgettable. When a woman thinks back to the man she could never forget, the one whose name still lingers in her mind years later, it's rarely the wealthiest or the most handsome man she dated. Instead, it's the man who stirred something deep inside her, the one who made her feel alive, who challenged her mind, who broke through the noise of everyday life and touched her soul. That's why women in cities like Manchester or Sydney can date men with perfect resume and still feel empty, while one unexpected encounter with a man who ignites her emotions can change her forever. Take Sarah, a lawyer from New York. She dated wealthy bankers, gym-obsessed fitness trainers, men who fit the profile her friends envied. Yet when you ask her about the man she can't shake from memory, her voice softens. He wasn't the richest, she admits, but he made me laugh until my cheeks hurt. He saw through me when others only saw the surface. I felt alive with him. Notice that? Not once did she mention his wallet, his abs, or his car. She remembers the man who awakened her emotions. This is the hidden truth most men overlook. A woman's deepest addiction isn't to material comfort. It's to the man who unlocks her emotions. If you can make her feel curiosity, laughter, passion, and vulnerability all in one moment, you've imprinted yourself onto her soul. Looks may fade, money may come and go, but emotional impact is permanent. Think about Olivia from London. She once went on a date with a man who wasn't classically attractive at all. He had an ordinary job, lived in a modest flat, and didn't drive an expensive car. Yet when he spoke, he lit up the room. He had the ability to make her question things, to make her reflect on her life in ways she never had before. At one point in their conversation, she confessed something deeply personal, and he didn't judge, and he simply listened with presence. In that moment, Olivia felt safe, seen, and alive. She told her friends later, "It was like he saw the part of me I didn't even show to myself." That is the kind of awakening no luxury lifestyle can replicate. The danger lies here. Once you awaken a woman's soul on that level, you become unforgettable. Every future man she dates will be measured against the standard you set. Even if she moves on, even if she marries another man, a part of her will forever wonder why no one else makes her feel the way you did. That's why women can sometimes look back, after 10 years of marriage, and still think of the man who unlocked their emotions, because awakening creates a permanent mark. Men in Los Angeles or Toronto often think they need to be flashy to compete in the dating game, but flashy fades. The deeper truth is this: the man who can stir her emotions wins over the man who only stimulates her eyes. The laughter you shared on a quiet night will echo longer than the dinner you paid for in a fancy restaurant. The feeling of being understood will stay with her longer than the memory of your six-pack. That's why awakening is dangerous. It is powerful. It binds her memory to you. It makes her compare every future man to you, and whether you intended it or not. You've now set a standard that she cannot unfeel, cannot unsee, cannot erase. Chapter 2. The Illusion of Control. Why she can't just move on. Here's where most men misunderstand women. They believe that women can simply move on after a heartbreak or after a powerful connection ends. They think it's a matter of willpower, of choosing to forget. But what men don't realize is this. When a man awakens a woman in a way she's never been awakened before, moving on isn't a choice, it's a battle she rarely wins. Take Olivia from London. She was in a 5-year relationship with a man who was good on paper. He had stability, a steady career, and never caused her drama. But Olivia felt something missing: passion, aliveness, fire. Then came Daniel, a man who challenged her ideas, teased her playfully, drew out her deepest insecurities, and still made her feel safe. In a matter of months, Daniel awakened her. Suddenly, Olivia wasn't just a partner in a safe relationship. She was alive, radiant, electrified. She saw herself differently because of how Daniel reflected her back to herself. But Daniel left. Maybe he wasn't ready, maybe he was careless. Maybe he simply didn't understand the power he held. Whatever the reason, Olivia returned to her old life, but it wasn't the same. Her boyfriend still offered security, still provided stability, but the fire was gone. And now it wasn't just gone, it was unbearable. Because once she had tasted fire, lukewarm felt like death. This is the illusion of control. People think women can simply turn off their emotions like a switch. But once awakened, her soul fights against ordinary. She will smile at dinners, laugh at her partner's jokes, but deep down, she's haunted by the memory of what she once felt. Emily from Los Angeles tells a similar story. She dated a man named Michael who didn't just compliment her looks. He made her feel understood, admired, and challenged in ways she didn't even know she craved. But when Michael disappeared, Emily tried to move forward. She dated other men, she kept herself busy, but every time someone touched her hand or whispered sweet words, she thought, it's not the same. She wasn't being dramatic, she was being honest. Once you've felt lightning, candlelight feels dull. That's why the most dangerous thing a man can do to a woman isn't breaking her heart. It's awakening her and then walking away. Breaking her heart hurts, but awakening her changes her forever. Even if she marries, even if she has children, even if she builds a new life, the ghost of what she once felt will follow her. It will live in her dreams, her late-night thoughts, and her quiet regrets. Men in cities like Sydney or Toronto underestimate this truth. They believe women are strong enough to move on, and yes, women are strong. But strength doesn't erase memory. Strength doesn't silence the comparison. Strength doesn't undo the awakening. And here lies the greatest danger. Once a woman has been awakened, she is no longer the same woman. She has changed permanently. She can't know what it feels like to be alive in that way. And she can't return to the dull safety she once accepted. The fire has been lit, and no matter how much water life throws on it, the smoke will always rise. Chapter 3. The Psychology of Imprint. Why some men live forever in her mind. There is a hidden truth about attraction that most men never realize. Once you leave an emotional mark on a woman, you don't just fade into her past. You live inside her memory, sometimes for the rest of her life. Psychologists call this imprinting. It's the same principle we see in nature, the first powerful. Experience becomes the benchmark against which all others are measured. For women, the first man who truly awakens their emotions, their vulnerability, and their passion becomes the imprint. Think about Emily from Los Angeles. She had dated men before, college boyfriends, casual flings, safe choices who treated her well enough. But then she met Michael. He wasn't the most handsome, but there was something magnetic about him. He spoke to her soul. He listened to her fears without judgment. And he knew how to spark both her laughter and her vulnerability. Emily confessed that when she was with him, she felt like the most alive version of herself. Years later, even after their relationship ended, Emily admitted that every man she met afterward was unconsciously compared to Michael, not because he was flawless, but because he had become her imprint. That's the power of imprinting. Once a man creates a level of emotional impact that touches a woman's very core, he becomes the standard, even when she tries to move on. even when she dates others. Her mind whispers, "Why doesn't it feel the same?" This isn't about obsession. It's about the human brain's tendency to anchor itself to the most powerful emotional experience. Women in cities like New York, Manchester, or Sydney often carry these imprints quietly. On the outside, they may seem fully invested in their new relationships, but deep down, they're haunted by a past man who made them feel alive in ways no one else has since. It's why you'll sometimes find women checking the Instagram of an old flame at 2 a.m., or why they smile faintly when a song reminds them of a night they once shared. This is what most men never understand. A woman may forgive you. She may move forward. She may even marry someone else, but if you were her imprint, she will never truly forget you. And here's where the danger becomes clear. If you awakened her carelessly, if you left her wounded after imprinting her, you've created a shadow she'll carry forever. A shadow that will affect her trust, her openness, and her ability to connect with others. Take Charlotte from London. She was deeply imprinted by a man named James who showed her vulnerability, passion, and adventure all at once. But James was reckless. He awakened her and then abandoned her when she needed him most. 10 years later, Charlotte was married to another man, living in a beautiful home, raising 2 children. But she admitted to her closest friend, "I love my husband, but I've never felt with him what I once felt with James." That single imprint shaped her entire view of love. This is why Stoic wisdom must come into play. Marcus Aurelius taught that power without discipline is destruction. A man who awakens a woman and becomes her imprint holds immense power. But if he lacks honor, he leaves behind destruction, not beauty. The truth is, most men stumble into imprinting without even realizing it. They think they're just dating, just having fun, just enjoying thrill. But for her, this is life-changing. For her, you're writing in permanent ink. The danger of imprinting is that it outlives logic. She can list all the reasons you were wrong for her. She can recount every flaw, but none of that matters. Emotions don't answer to logic. Once you're her imprint, you've become her ghost, her benchmark, her eternal comparison. And here's what separates great men from careless men. A great man understands this power and uses it with respect. He doesn't awaken what he cannot nurture. He doesn't create an imprint only to vanish into the night. He recognizes that if he steps into her heart at that level, he must carry the responsibility of what that means. The dangerous truth is this: some men live forever in a woman's mind, not because of what they gave her, but because of what they awakened in her. And whether that memory is her greatest joy or her deepest wound depends on the man he chose to be. Chapter 4. The danger of half-awakening when men play games. If full awakening is powerful, then half-awakening is devastating. This is what happens when a man teases a woman's emotions, stirs her vulnerability, makes her feel alive, but never truly commits, never grounds her in security. It's like lighting a fire in her heart and then walking away, leaving her to burn alone. In modern dating culture, this has become a dangerous game. Men love the thrill of the chase. They know how to flirt, how to make her feel like the only woman in the room, how to awaken parts of her femininity that had been sleeping for years. But once they've enjoyed the high of that awakening, they vanish. And the woman is left shattered, not just because she lost a man, but because she lost herself in the process. Consider Jessica from Toronto. She met James at a networking event. He wasn't just charming, he was magnetic. He listened intently, remembered small details, and had this way of making her feel radiant. For the first time in years, Jessica felt truly desired, not for her looks or her success, but for who she was inside. James awakened her feminine side, her confidence, her passion. But here's the cruel twist: James never intended to stay. He enjoyed the thrill of her awakening, but wasn't ready for the responsibility it carried. After a few months, he disappeared. Jessica was left broken. She didn't just lose James, she lost the version of herself he had brought to life. And this is the greatest danger of half-awakening. It doesn't just wound her heart, it wounds her identity. She had tasted what it was, like to feel radiant and alive, and now she couldn't return to the dullness she once accepted. Every man who came after James felt incomplete because they couldn't ignite the same fire. This is why half-awakenings create cycles of bitterness. Women who have been awakened and abandoned often build walls so high that good men later struggle to climb them. They become guarded, suspicious, unwilling to trust, not because they hate men, but because they once trusted too deeply only to be left in ashes. Take Megan from Manchester. She fell for Daniel, a man who lit up her world with passion and spontaneity. But when Daniel lost interest, he left her without explanation. Years later, Megan admitted, "I'm not the same. I can't open up the way I used to. I'm always waiting for the man to leave." That's the poison of half awakening. It leaves scars that ripple into future relationships. And it doesn't stop there. Half awakenings can affect not only her love life but her family, her children, even her worldview. A woman who feels used and abandoned may carry bitterness into her marriage. Raising children in a home where trust feels fragile and love feels conditional. One careless man can set off a chain reaction that lasts generations. This is why awakening is not a game. It's not just casual fun. It's not boys being boys. It is power, and power demands responsibility. A stoic man understands this truth. He knows that real masculinity is not about how many hearts he can stir, but about how much responsibility he can carry. He understands that teasing emotions for his own ego is weakness, not strength. The dangerous reality is this: half awakening is worse than not awakening at all. Because at least in ignorance, she doesn't know what she's missing. But once you show her what it feels like to be alive and then take it away, you've given her a taste of heaven only to throw her back into emptiness. That wound is far deeper than rejection. It's identity shattering. And this is where men must choose. Do you want to be the man who awakens only to abandon, leaving behind broken souls and bitter hearts? Or do you want to be the man who awakens and then takes responsibility, turning that fire into something lasting? The truth is clear. The danger of half awakening is real. It doesn't just change her view of you, it changes her view of love itself. And once love becomes tainted, it may never look the same again. Chapter 5. The Sacred Path, Using This Power with Honor. Every man holds a hidden power that most are not even aware of. It isn't the power of physical strength, or the power of wealth, or even the power of charm. It's the power to awaken something in a woman that can never be put back to sleep. And here's the truth: that power can be dangerous when used recklessly, but sacred when used with honor. Too many men in today's dating culture think awakening a woman is just about ego. They chase the thrill of making her blush, of hearing her laugh, of feeling desired by someone new. They awaken her emotions, stir her soul, and then walk away as if nothing happened. But a wise man, a stoic man, he understands that awakening isn't a game. It's a responsibility. Think about Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and stoic philosopher. He once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Apply this to relationships. And it means if you awaken a woman, you must live as the man who honors what you've awakened. Because the moment you stir her fire, you hold a piece of her heart. And how you handle that piece determines whether she remembers you as her greatest blessing or her deepest wound. Let's imagine Charlotte from London. She had been through relationships before. Men who wanted her beauty, men who wanted her body, men who offered stability but no excitement. Then she met Daniel. Daniel didn't just flirt. He saw her. He made her laugh with wit that felt effortless. He asked about her childhood dreams. He noticed details others overlooked, like the way she tapped her fingers when she was nervous, or how her eyes lit up when she spoke about art. Daniel awakened something deep in her. But here's where Daniel was different. He didn't just awaken her and leave. He understood that once he had touched her soul, he had a duty. He didn't run from the responsibility of commitment. Instead, he leaned into it. He guided that fire, protected it, and built a foundation around it. Years later, Charlotte said, "He didn't just make me feel alive. He made me feel safe in my aliveness. That is what it means to awaken with honor." Contrast this with James from Manchester, who loved the thrill of the chase but not the weight of commitment. He awakened Jessica, made her feel radiant, made her feel desired. But when it came time to commit, to honor the very fire he had lit, he disappeared, and Jessica was left bitter, wounded, and mistrustful. James played with a sacred power like it was a toy, and the result was destruction. Here's the stoic truth: masculinity without responsibility is chaos. Real strength isn't about how many women you can stir. It's about how many women you refuse to wound. It's about using your power to build, not to break. And when you choose the sacred path, something beautiful happens. You don't just awaken her. You become unforgettable in the best possible way. Take Olivia from Sydney. She once admitted, "The men who hurt me taught me to distrust love. But the man who stayed, the one who honored my vulnerability, gave me back my faith in it." That is the power of a man who takes responsibility. He doesn't just awaken a woman, he restores her faith in love itself. Men often underestimate how deeply women remember. A woman may forget the gifts you bought her, the trips you took her on, even the promises you made, but she will never forget how you made her feel. Did you make her feel like she was truly seen, truly valued, truly cherished? Or did you make her feel like she was just another option? Another game, another conquest? That's the legacy you leave behind. And here's the key. The sacred path isn't about perfection. You don't need to be flawless. You don't need to have all the answers. And you don't need to never make mistakes. The sacred path is about intention. It's about the discipline to honor her vulnerability instead of exploiting it. It's about saying, if I awaken her, I will take care of what I've awakened. Michael from Toronto embodied this truth. He once told his friend, any man can get attention, but not every man deserves trust. The real test of character is what you do. Once she gives you her heart, Michael understood that to awaken a woman is to be trusted with something priceless. And he lived in a way that honored that trust. And this is why women will always remember the man who walked the sacred path. Not because he was the richest, not because he was the most handsome, but because he respected the sacredness of her soul. Because he carried the weight of responsibility with honor. Because he didn't just awaken her. He stayed, he built, he protected. The dangerous path creates broken women who doubt love. The sacred path creates radiant women who flourish in love. As men, we hold the choice every single day. Do we misuse the power we've been given, or do we honor it? The sacred path isn't easy. It demands discipline, patience, and self-control. It requires you to rise above your ego and your temporary desires. But it is the path that separates boys from men, pretenders from leaders, and destroyers from builders. The truth is this: awakening a woman is both the most dangerous and the most sacred thing you can do. Dangerous when done recklessly, sacred when done with honor. And when you choose the sacred path, you don't just win her heart, you win her respect, her admiration, and her eternal remembrance. Conclusion: the most dangerous thing. So what is the most dangerous thing a man can do to a woman? It is to awaken her soul, to make her feel things she's never felt, to spark a version of herself she cannot unsee, and then leave her to deal with that fire alone. The lesson for men is this: respect the power you hold. Don't awaken what you cannot protect. Don't stir a woman's soul if you're not ready to carry the responsibility of what comes next. And if you do awaken her, let it be not as a destroyer, but as a builder. Because in the end, the most dangerous thing a man can do to a woman is also the most sacred. It can either ruin her or elevate her. The choice, gentlemen, is always yours. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.